Here we are at our Chapter 5, Target 1F. We're asked to simplify the expression using properties of exponents. Now, what we can go ahead and do first is go ahead and use our power to a power property. Really, this 6 does have an exponent. It is 1. Likewise, with this x, it does have an exponent of 1. Even down here, this x and 9 both have an exponent of 1. So anytime that they're not really written there, and you have it being raised to a power, it is assumed that it is in fact 1. Now really where that comes into handy is where we go ahead then and use our property with power to a power, actually is what it's called. So we'll go ahead and rewrite the first piece since it doesn't have any exponent. For the 6, this is again raised to the first power that's being raised to the second power. Because you have a power raised to a power, you are multiplying those powers. You end up then with 6 squared, and you distribute that to them. When you distribute the second to the x, we end up with that same base x, power to a power, multiplying those exponents to 1 times 2, giving us 2. Now on the bottom, we have the base 9, power to a power, multiplying those exponents to 1 times 2, gives us 2. Our base of x, again, power to a power, 1 times 2 gives us 2. For our y, we have that base of y, power of 3 raised to the power of the second, we end up with 3 times 2, giving us y then to the 6. Let's go ahead and clean things up a little bit. So we end up then with 3x squared y cubed times 6 squared comes out to be 36 x squared all over 9 to the second gives us 81 x squared y to the 6th. Now there are a couple different ways that you can continue on from here. I think what we'll do is go ahead and, since we're multiplying with these like bases, in this case x, you would just add the corresponding exponents to that. So we end up then with also 36 times 3 comes out to be, should be 108. Again, multiplying with those like bases of x, we are going to be adding the corresponding exponents, so x to the 4th. And then there's nothing on top with y other than the y cubed, so we still have y cubed on top. On the bottom, we still have 81 x squared y to the 6th. At this point, we can go ahead and simplify up our numbers. So it looks like we can divide the top and bottom both by 3. I guess we could have done that even earlier. When we do that, we end up with 36 over 27. Oh, we can, I guess, do it even a little bit more. But let's go ahead and just rewrite the rest. We have x squared, y to the 6th. So I haven't really changed much with the variables yet, still focusing on the numbers. Looks like we could divide the top and bottom both by 3 again, giving us, in fact, we could do, looks like 9. They're both divisible by 9 at this point. So when we divide the top number 36 by 9, we end up with 4. The bottom number, divide that by 9, we end up with 3. So for our x's, using the quotient property, you can run through the official definition that we've talked about. The general quick rule of thumb, though, is you just look and see, well, we're looking and we're dividing our exponents, our bases of x. We're dividing our common base of x. Which one has that higher exponent? It looks like it is on top, so we're going to subtract 2 from 4 on top. So when we do that, we have x to the 2nd. Alternatively, looking at the y's, and we are dividing here, so as a result, you are subtracting the exponents. We notice that there are more on the bottom. And as a result, what we can do is subtract 3 from the 6 and end up with 3 left over on the bottom. Now, the long way, if you did the y's, you could do, where you use your quotient property, but it'd be y to the 3 minus 6, which would then give you y to the negative 3rd. And then you would just bring that down on the bottom anyway. This is just kind of a nice little quick shortcut. Pretty much just look at the exponents, and see whichever one's larger. You will end up with the same answer in the end. So there is our final simplified version. Again, that is our Chapter 5, Target 1F from the Chapter 5 study guide.